Yeah! The NHL season is set to begin, and I'm here to provide you with some very easy tools to make some money off of your bookmaker. I'm Professor MJ, and I teach statistics at the university level. Now, many people in online forums have been calling me crazy for unveiling for free some great winning betting systems in hockey and baseball. Now, I don't care what they say, I'm just going to keep providing awesome value to my followers, and I make it my number one priority. Keep watching because this video presents one of the most lucrative betting angles in hockey. Let's do this! Alright, so I'm going to shoot today's video at the Galerie de la Capitale, which is a pretty big shopping center here in Quebec City that has an amusement park inside of it and also a skating rink. Alright, let's get back to business. In today's video, I'm going to investigate the following situation. When a NHL team goes through a streak of games where they struggle to score goals, should we bet them or should we bet against them in their following game? If you have been following me a little bit, you know that I tend to go against the general betting public. For this reason, my initial guess here is that we should probably bet the team whose offense has been struggling recently. But why not verify this gut feeling via empirical data? The results presented in this statistical study are based on historical data from the 2008-09 to 2015-16 regular seasons. It contains data on over 10,000 hockey games. Suppose a team that I'm going to call Team A has scored very few goals in each of its past X games. We wonder whether we should bet or fade Team A in their next meeting, where fading means betting against them. In the first portion of this video, there's going to be a losing requirement. What do I mean by that? It means that I'm going to require the team who has been struggling offensively as of late to have also lost all of those most recent games. And later on in this video, I'm going to remove this condition to see if we can find better betting strategies. Here comes the very first section of this video. We kick off this study by investigating the case where Team A not only lost its past 2 games, but they lost them by scoring very few goals. Let's dive into the 2-game losing scoring drought scenario.
Alright, let's get this party started. Please meet my lucky lobster bell. So first, assume Team A was shut out in its last 2 games. Obviously both losses. The question is, how did they fare in their following match? Now, how about if they still lost their previous 2 games, but this time by scoring a maximum of 1 goal in each contest, or a maximum of 2 goals per game, or a maximum of 3 goals per game? So let's look at the results from placing $1 bets on or against Team A after such a 2-game losing scoring drought, based on the data from the 2007-08 to 2015-16 regular seasons. So these 3 columns indicate the gambling outcome from betting Team A, while the last 3 columns show you what happened if you bet against Team A. Oh my God! The results are amazingly good! Wow! Not only do we find some very lucrative cases, but it seems super clear that we are better off betting Team A as opposed to fading them. And that fits perfectly the contrarian rationale that I described earlier. The most profitable situation by far occurs when betting Team A after it lost its previous 2 games by scoring a maximum of 3 goals per meeting. And this case led to an astounding $79.21 profit.
Yahoo! Wow, we are off to a fantastic start with huge gains already. Is it possible that we can improve even more upon those results? A hidden factor that might come into play is the location of the game. So let's break down the results we just saw into 2 separate cases, depending on whether Team A played on the road or at home.
Alright, so the top table shows the results when Team A was the road team, while the bottom table shows the results when they were at home. Now, do you remember how we won about $79 from betting Team A following a 2-game stretch where they lost both meetings by scoring 3 goals or less per game? Well, based on the couple of tables on your screen, this amount can be broken down as plus $85 on the road versus minus $6 at home. So the conclusion could hardly be clearer than this. We should definitely focus on road games only. So based on the evidence, we retain a first potential winning system that I'm going to call strategy number 1. Betting Team A when playing on the road after it lost 2 straight games by scoring a maximum of 3 goals per match. So this strategy yielded a profit of about $85 over 1,818 games.
Yes!
Wow! That's a return. Hey, enough. That's a return on investment, a ROI, of 4.7%. Now let me make sure you realize what's going on here. We've obtained a 5% ROI on a sample of close to 2,000 games. That's right, 2,000 games. That's quite an accomplishment. So the results are therefore extremely reliable.
Let's dig a little deeper with respect to the potential betting strategy I just described. Are there any indications that betting certain sets of odds provide more lucrative situations? Let's assess the role of the money line. To do so, I have separated the possible money lines into 11 ranges. We then look at the profit made within each such range. So let's now look at how the $85 profit generated from the first strategy was distributed as a function of Team A's odds.
Okay, so here is the performance of system number 1 in each of 11 moneyline ranges, which are presented both in American format and decimal format. Now, the striking finding from this table is that we lost money on big and moderate favorites. So why not leave them out then? So therefore, we're going to focus on the following revised betting system that I'm going to call strategy number 1B. So it starts the same as the strategy number 1, betting Team A playing on the road after it lost 2 straight games by scoring a max of 3 goals per match. But this time you bet only if Team A's money line is above 1.80, which is equivalent to minus 125 in American format. So under this setting, we made a slightly improved profit of $90.53 over 1,656 games. So the ROI increases slightly from 4.7% to 5.5%. Unbelievable! We've managed to increase the profits even more, and the reasoning behind the slight modification makes sense, because generally speaking, we are better served by betting underdogs than favorites, because that's still coherent with the contrarian approach, since the square bettors, which means the not so smart gamblers, prefer putting their money on favorites, simply because it feels more comfortable.
A good way to gauge a system's reliability is to check its performance across the years. We hope to find consistent winnings, as opposed to big up and down spikes in terms of yearly profit. So without further ado, let's inspect the season-by-season performance of the lone betting strategy we've retained thus far.
Oh, very nice! We distinguish 7 winning seasons versus only 2 where we ended up in the red, the 2010 and 2013 seasons. And the worst season produced losses of about 6 units, which would not take a huge blow to your bankroll. So you can hardly hope for cleaner results than this. It looks like we have a valid system that has a very promising outlook for the future.
Let's move on to section number 2. We redo the same analysis, but this time in cases where the length of the losing scoring drought was 3. So in plain English, we look at how Team A did after undergoing a 3-game stretch where they lost all of them while also scoring very few goals in each contest.
Let's now pretend we had placed $1 bets after a team underwent such a 3-game losing scoring drought. Now once again, we have strong indications that betting Team A is a much better option than betting against them. The highest profit figure is about $69. Now can we increase it by concentrating on road games only, as was the case before? Let's find out the answer.
We now break down the results we just saw, contingent on the location of the game. Let's do the road home split for the 3-game losing scoring drought setting.
Huh? What the heck? Strangely enough, we did better off home teams rather than road teams for the situation that we are focusing on.
You have got to be kidding.
Now, since the winnings were more substantial when betting Team A, irrespective of the location of the game, that is the system that we're going to keep track of. And I'm going to call it strategy number 2. Betting Team A after it lost 3 straight games by scoring a maximum of 3 goals per match. In this case, we won close to $69 over a bit less than 2,000 games for a return on your money of 3.6%.
We have found one betting system worth of note thus far in this section. Let's see how the $69 profit was made as a function of the money line. Here's the odds split.
Here is the performance of strategy number 2 as a function of Team A's odds. Well, we made money in all 11 categories except in the 2.05 to 2.25 odds range, where we lost a huge amount of cash. And we also lost a tiny amount in the 2.5 to 2.75 range. However, who would trust a system indicating to bet Team A except if its money line lies between such specific values as 2.05 and 2.25? It just would not make any kind of sense. So consequently, we're going to contend that strategy number 2 works well no matter the odds.
Did the second strategy perform well across all seasons? Let's find out with the season split.
An optimistic person would argue that we won money in 6 out of 9 seasons, which is good. However, a more realistic perspective raises a big red flag. We lost a substantial amount of cash in 2 separate seasons, 2011 and 2015. And in fact, losing 15 units is a big deal. If your average bet is $1,000, that equates to losing $15,000 over a single year. Ouch! So there's absolutely no doubt that strategy number 1B is superior to strategy number 2. Not only were its winnings bigger, but as I just demonstrated, the second strategy's consistency is very questionable.
It's time for the third section of this video. The sample sizes will keep diminishing as we now require Team A to have gone through a stretch of 4 straight games where they lost all of them and did not score many goals in any of them. Here comes the 4-game losing scoring drought scenario.
Here are the results from placing $1 bets on the game that followed a 4-game losing scoring drought by Team A. The results stink. The most fruitful cases lead to gains that are below $7, which is far from the $90 profit that we found previously. And they also correspond to situations where we need to bet against Team A, which is counterintuitive.
We break down the results depending on whether Team A played on the road or at home. Yeah, why not? We're crazy people, so let's do it.
As you can see, things do not improve following the road-home split. The most gainful situations suggest fading Team A, and their profit figures are still pretty low. They're all below $8. So based on these findings, it is not worth pursuing further under the 4-game setting. So this case goes in the garbage.
Thus far, throughout this video, I've required Team A to be undergoing a scoring drought and to have lost all of those games. But what if we remove the condition of having lost all of those games and make it optional? We might now include a team whose latest 2 outings ended with the following scores: lost 6-1 and won 2-0. So they are indeed struggling offensively, but they still manage to pull off a win. I have scrutinized this modified version of the scoring drought effect to see if we can find a money-making system. And let me save you some time. We do find some interesting betting strategies, but they are not nearly as good as the one we've retained thus far, which we called strategy number 1B, whose gains reached 90 units. When removing the losing condition, the best case scenario yields a profit of 69 units. So therefore, we're going to stick with strategy number 1B. If you wish to see all the details and numbers pertaining to the case where the team experiencing a scoring drought did not necessarily lose all of its games, well, check out my website at professormj.com. The specific link to the article can be found in the description of this video below. Alright, it's time to wrap it up. Let me recap clearly the set of conditions for the great betting system we have kept.
Alright, so here is a quick recap of the very lucrative Scoring Drought betting system in the National Hockey League. So we're going to focus on a team that I decided to call Team A. Now, their past 2 games must meet the following 2 criteria. These past 2 games must both be losses by scoring at most 3 goals per game. Now, Team A's next game must also meet 2 criteria. First, they must be the visiting team, and their money line should be greater than 1.8 in decimal format, which is the same as minus 125 in American format. So in other words, we want to bet a road team who is either a slight favorite or an underdog. And under this situation, what do you need to do? You bet Team A. And that fits very well with my initial feeling that we should bet the cold team, because that goes against the betting public. And this means that the money line is probably inflated artificially, and we're going to take advantage of this great bargain. Now, if you used that strategy over my 9-year data set, you would have made a nice profit. So here are the numbers that I already showed you earlier. Now you may be wondering, okay, well that's great, but what can I expect to earn over a single season? Well, the answer is you are likely to get a 10-unit profit. So that was obtained by dividing the profit of $90.53 by 9 seasons contained in my dataset. Alright, so a 10-unit profit means that if your average bet is $100, your expected earnings per year is about $1,000.
We covered a lot of ground in this video, but it was well worth it as we unveiled an awesome NHL betting angle called the Scoring Drought. It promises to be very lucrative in the future, so you've got to start using it now. Otherwise, you're just throwing away your money. Alright, now are you hungry for more? Do you want me to tell you about other money-making betting strategies? If your answer is please yes, well, the best move you could do is subscribe to my channel. So just click the button below. By doing it, you'll be noticed as soon as I post a new video. There's going to be not only videos about winning systems, but also NHL picks based on these strategies. I really want to congratulate you for watching this entire video. It shows that you are truly committed to becoming a savvy sports investor. I'm Professor MJ, Stats University professor, and I'm here to help you crush your bookies. I'll see you in another video.